So now we're going to do the Vedic nakshatra-based Kuta approach to compatibility. So there's actually 3 parts to the Ashtakuta system. There are 8 point-giving kutas. Many times what happens is astrologers just focus on the score. And there's a reason, because the score shows an aggregate level of compatibility across several different parameters. And so if you reach a score of about 20, then it shows there's enough support to perhaps balance other things out. This is a general statement, which I'll clarify a little bit more. But there are other qualities of the Ashtakuta system that are in fact close to being deal breakers, and then others that just show special affinities. So first of all, there are 2 conditions that are sort of deal breakers, or very close to. One of them is a deal breaker, and it's called Veda, which means obstruction. That doesn't mean Veda like from the Vedas, V-E-D-A, it's Vedha, like Vedha. And Vedha it's an obstruction, and it just shows mutually repellent nakshatras. And actually Mars nakshatras wind up being repellent. All 3 are repellent to each other, but the other ones have one nakshatra that it just doesn't work with. And if you find this connection, you just find that it's not supposed to work. And so when you have the Veda obstruction, that shows that it's like a deal breaker. So it just means that there's no connection there, that it's a repellent, like they repel each other, they don't work at all. And so that's one of the conditioning factors called Vedha. And again, people say, what? People will ask, why are these certain ones repellent? This isn't something that has any sense to it, actually. Someone could maybe research it and go into why. We don't really know why. But in this Ashtakuta system, and in this way of doing relationship astrology, you will see this, and it's not BS, man. This is real. Vedha is an obstruction where 2 nakshatras just don't work, and when you see it, it's kind of a deal breaker, and that energy will not work within the couple. Now, one thing to realize is that you have to assess every planet and the ascendant through the Ashtakuta system, but priority is given mainly to the moon, as it's the mind and consciousness of the couple. I also give a lot of importance to the ascendant, the rising sign, and any planets that have strong Ashtakuta scores and, minus Vedha and Raju, which I'll talk about in a minute, wind up being places of strength for the couple. So you like to see that many of those, or as many as possible, have close to 20, and you like to see that across the board, Vedha is not present anywhere, in particular in the moon. If you see Vedha in the moon, it's a breaker. There's not going to be connection. And often you'll see it's just something just doesn't work. It like short circuits it right from the beginning. Even if there's a lot of compatibility, even if you got like the Moon-Venus conjunction that I talked about in synastry, and you see those things, Vedha will make it very hard for the people to get together. And this is what you see, by the way. You'll see people will have good synastry, but then they'll have this thing in the nakshatra Kuta, for instance, that doesn't work. Sometimes they'll have, like I said, they'll have difficult synastry, but then the Ashtakutas really support. So Vedha, not good. Another conditioning factor is called Raju, which literally means rope, and it's like a noose, or like like Lord Yama has a noose that he uses to grab you and pull you somewhere. Raju is like it's like the rope that sort of pulls you down, and you can have Raju in several different body parts. And again, Raju is when the nakshatras relate to the same body part. So there's like the feet, there's the hip, there's the neck, other body parts. So this Raju shows a rope that can pull the couple down. Now, again, Raju is also a difficult blemish, but it's overcome, or it's helped out by other factors. Raju can be modified by high Kuta score and other things where the Raju will be not as difficult. But you'll still see that different components of Raju will be blemishes. So with Raju, it's the body parts are the feet, the hip, the navel, the neck, and the head. And so you want to have the body parts be different for each of the nakshatras in the couple. So if there's a problem in the feet, then there will be wandering, they say. And if it's both in the hip, then it's going to be poverty. If they both fall in the navel, then they say that there will be a loss of children. When they both fall in the neck, then the wife doesn't survive. And if they both fall in the head, then the husband doesn't survive, it says. So these are the counter indicators. These are the things that show when you have a Raju blemish. This rope tends to drag the couple down. But again, other point scores and other kinds of matching will overcome the Raju blemish. And so the counter indicators are also quite important here. Like for instance, if someone has Raju blemish, but they have Rashi Kuta matching, which means there's no Stree Deergha, which means that masculine feminine flow is intact, Graha Maitram, which is planetary friendliness, Tara Kuta matching, and also what's called Mahendra, which is a special affinity, then you can ignore Raju. But that's a lot. So you would have to have no Stree Deergha. So there has to be the shortest path from the man to the woman, not the reverse. You have to have Graha Maitram, which is planetary friendliness, which I'll talk about. Then you need to have Tara Kuta, which is the day matching, which generally supports the woman, and Mahendra, which is the special inner connection. And if those things are matching, then you can overlook Raju. But again, Raju can be quite difficult as well. And then a third conditioning factor is called Stree Deergha, and it literally means length to the woman. Deergha means like length, and Stree is a word for woman. So this Stree Deergha is the length to the woman, or the distance to the woman, and this shows a principle that the shortest distance should be from the man's moon or planet to the woman's. And again, so the shortest distance should go from the man to the woman. So, for instance, if the man has his moon in Taurus, the woman's moon should be between Taurus and Scorpio, because then the shortest distance would be from him to her, and that includes the 7th house. Once it gets to the 8th house, then the shortest distance is going to be from her to him, because then it's only 6 signs to him, where it would be 8 signs from him to her. So this is called Stree Deergha, and it also is related to one of the point-giving kutas, it's not really a point-giving kuta, but it's actually called Rashi Kuta, which is really like the same as Stree Deergha. So it shows the distance, and it's about 50-50 that the shortest distance will be from the woman to the man, or from the man to the woman. So again, the shortest distance should be from the man to the woman, which affirms these principles of masculine and feminine. Like I said, like I've been saying from the beginning. And I told you, like when we get especially to the Vedic Ashtakutas and the principles of the Vedic compatibility matching, you're going to really see those principles of masculine and feminine shown over and over again. And it's very simple, because women bond through the power of receptivity. Men bond through the power of initiation, which means we're talking about a traditional relationship, so please no gay comments. I understand in gay relationships it's just more fluid, but usually you'll see one is more masculine, one is more feminine, just naturally. One has more masculine tendencies, one has more feminine tendencies, and the relationships work best when those energies are intact, when the more masculine partner, or let's just say the man, when he's in the initiating role and the woman is in the receptive role, then the woman is bonding to her powerful gender experience, bonding through her feminine side, and the man is bonding through his masculine side, which is the capacity and the courage to initiate. Because men, when they're afraid, they have a crisis of leadership and a crisis of confidence. Women, when they're afraid, they have a crisis of receptivity. This is why you see so many relationships are backwards, where the woman is in the initiating sort of masculine role because it's safer for her to be there, and it's safer for the man. Because when men have a crisis of confidence and leadership, they don't have the courage to walk up to that woman that they really want to be with. Instead, they're kind of shy and passive and waiting for the woman, who isn't really empowered to receive, to initiate some kind of interaction with them, because like, oh, he's safe, he won't hurt me, so I'll let him know that it's okay, and then he'll come. But again, usually this dynamic is shown most of the time by the masculine-feminine flow, often in the moons. So you want to see this Stree Deergha is intact. Again, that's not really a, quote, deal breaker, so to speak, but it makes for an uncomfortable relationship vibe where the woman, it's the great lament that women have. Why are, he was looking for a mommy, and, he drained my energy because I always had to take care of him. Right, well, that's because if a man comes up who's masculine, you'll probably push him back, because then he's going to challenge you to be feminine. So this is why it gets like that. So Stree Deergha, very important as well. So these conditioning factors are quite important and show things that precede the Ashta Kutas, the 8 point-giving Kutas.